who qualifies to bring a Roundup case? You know, a lot of times people may be watching these videos and they may be saying to themselves, hey, you know, I may not have a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or a different type of cancer, but my family member is. Who qualifies under the parameters of the Roundup litigation to file a lawsuit?
Well, anybody who had exposure to Roundup could qualify for a potential settlement. These could be landscapers, these could be farmers, or these could be individuals using Roundup around their homes. Now, whether or not you qualify also depends on the type of cancer diagnosis that you have. Roundup settlements typically resolve when an individual has exposure to the product and was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or one of its subsets. Now, whether or not an individual qualifies is ultimately going to depend on their diagnosis, and then the value of that claim is going to depend on a number of things, including the type of diagnosis, the age that an individual was diagnosed. It's going to depend on their Roundup use, the type of Roundup use that they had, and it's going to depend on a number of other risk factors that ultimately are used to determine the value of the case.
So the bottom line is, if you think you have a potential Roundup case, now is the time to take action and really contact an attorney. If you've been sitting on the sidelines watching this play out, now is really the time to act. Bryce, I want to ask you, can you give us an idea of the volume of cases that have been filed, the volume of Roundup lawsuits that have been filed?
Well, right now, there are tens of thousands of lawsuits involving Roundup exposure pending around the country. In fact, it's believed that the number may even exceed 100,000 cases. Our office is handling many of these cases all over the country in various states, and we're currently evaluating settlement opportunities in those cases. But because there's so many cases, it's important that you reach out to an attorney immediately. While these companies have set aside billions of dollars to settle Roundup claims, there are thousands of people out there, and that money can disappear pretty fast.
Now, if someone's watching this video and they're saying to themselves, well, you know, I think I have a case, you know, I've got a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I may have lived in a agricultural area when I was younger. I may have used Roundup, but you know what? I mean, that was those 3 houses ago. I don't have the product anymore. What would you tell those people about, you know, how you would, you know, essentially show the evidence that you would use to show that they actually used and were exposed to Roundup if they don't have the product anymore?
Well, John, that's a great question. There are a lot of people out there who no longer have any proof of their Roundup use. They may have thrown out the Roundup. They may have tossed out the receipts. They may have never gotten the receipts in the first place. But in the Roundup litigation, what many individuals have done is they filled out what are called affidavits or sworn statements attesting to their Roundup use, or they may have a family member fill out an affidavit or a sworn statement attesting to their Roundup use. Both of those are admissible and are bases for a Roundup settlement if you used Roundup.